Hey yo, Miles Low here, Do Better Network, Do Better, New Better Show. If you knew better, you do better. Who better to make you better, a better you? Look, appreciate everybody who's been rocking with us, man. 5 episodes in and you really gonna like this one. Got Illya Dailey gonna break down everything marketing, everything promotion, everything branding, brand building, what you need to know to start your brand, the future of branding, and just a real expert opinion and high level observation on what branding actually is for those who don't know. So I think you can get a lot of info from it, a lot of jewels from it. Appreciate everybody who's been tapped into the movement thus far. So if you're a brand, if you're starting a brand, if you want to become part of what we're doing here at the DBN, community building is what we're working on. You can send us a DM on Instagram at the Do Better Network. That's at the Do Better Network, or send us an email, thedobetternetwork@gmail.com. And we'll talk about how we can collaborate and become greater later and come together and make one big happy community. But look, I'm not gonna talk your ear off. Got some gems coming for you, some real game. You don't want to miss it. Illya Dailey, Ask Illya, right here, right now on the Do Better Network. Roll the clip. Hey yo, Miles Low. Appreciate you tapping in with us, man. It's the Do Better Show, the New Better Do Better Show. If you knew better, you do better. So who better to make you better? You got it right. A better you. What we on? Episode 5, man. Episode 5. Appreciate everybody tapping in. This is not an episode we need to talk your ear off. We're just gonna give you as much game as we can. Squeeze it into this, 45 minutes to an hour conversation to hopefully help anybody who is taking that next step in their journey, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an artist, whether you are, just getting into, this new structure of the world that we are moving forward into very rapidly, by the way. I think everybody needs a brand. And I have who I consider a branding expert. I think we have an idea of what branding is, but let's get an expert opinion on what it is. So now we know, we don't have to guess. And, introduce my man to the left. Introduce yourself to him, brother, man.
Illya Dailey, known as askillya.com. That's kind of my website in regards to building brands. Been in the business for over 20 years, primarily radio, TV, podcasts, and from small to medium-sized businesses to Fortune 500s. So I've worked with them all, and there is a secret sauce and there's a recipe.
Okay, so let's just full speed swan dive straight into it. There's branding, there's promotion, there's marketing. I don't think people know the difference between the three. They think they're kind of interchangeable. Break them all down for us. Well, imagine if this crowd is coming straight from behind the desk. This is their first time getting any sauce or any idea of what branding is, what marketing is, what promotion is. Break it down for them in the simplest terms.
Well, let's make it simple and let's use an example. Let's take the big giant, McDonald's, okay. Right? There's branding and then there's direct response, right? So the branding is that at every day, if you listen to radio, McDonald's or commercial on television, McDonald's is advertising McDonald's, right? So that's branding. But the direct response is filet fishes are 2 for $5. That's the direct response. So that's getting people to actually make a move. So that's the difference. Marketing is an overall umbrella of branding and direct response pieces. So I use that as an example to kind of say, no matter what you do, no matter what the product or service is, you have to have your branding. So branding is getting the word out, utilizing maybe the social media tools, different mediums, TV, radio, online services, digital ads, things of that nature, to brand yourself. Then you have an offering. That's your direct response piece.
Okay. So branding and brand are two different things then, you're saying?
Well, branding and branding is the formula of the brand. So whatever that brand may be, whatever that product or service is, because it's either a product or it's a service. So
Okay.
either you have a limo service that you have to brand, or you have a product where you're selling candles. So those the branding pieces are getting people to know that you are around and you're available.
Okay.
And then you have to look at who's your demographic, who's buying your product, who buys McDonald's cheeseburgers, and then you create what they call an artificial intelligence to duplicate those individuals so that you have more acquisition on your direct response.
Okay. So what is the brand of a McDonald's then? Is it simply the entire conglomerate of McDonald's? Is it the product that they're selling, or is it?
The brand is the arches. So when you see those golden arches, you're familiar with that brand. When you see the green symbols of Starbucks, you're familiar with that brand. When you see Burger King, you're familiar with those brands because it has a color, it has a significance in regards to, our dietary needs. So that brand represents something. So it'd be different if you was to go down the street and you're looking at a Chevrolet dealership. That Chevrolet logo is the actual brand. Then the products that they offer are the various types of vehicles that people would drive. And then they create a direct response based on if you're a family, your Tahoe would be probably a good choice. If you're a single person, then maybe the Encore would be a different choice. So those are like the branding and the direct response pieces that come along with that.
So how do brands get their value? Is it from the sales, the transaction that they make? Is it the feeling, the connection that they give to people? Because I think there's a lot of different ways to judge and gauge a brand, per se.
Well, the value is the person that's using it. So if you have a product and a service and it's giving you significance, that's where it's at. If that kind of makes sense. So ask the question again.
What gives a brand its value?
The value is the person that's utilizing that brand. So if I was to utilize, say, a hair grease, right, and it makes my hair grow, that's a value to me to be able to also be an influencer to someone else to say, here, look at this particular hair grease because it actually worked for me and it made my hair grow.
So the value of a brand is different. It differentiates from a person to person basis, or is there a full?
No, it's not. Nothing's across the board when you talk about products and services because like you got on Philadelphia, somebody else might have on the Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? It's going to differentiate between what people like and what people dislike. You know what I'm saying? People have good and bad experiences. You may went to, and I'm going to just continue to use McDonald's again. You might have went to McDonald's and you didn't really have a good experience with the Big Mac, right? Then someone else who's like, I have a Big Mac every week. You know what I'm saying? So it's always, so that's why the quality of your product is very important so that you can create consistency. So if you go to Pizza Hut in Phoenix and then you go to Pizza Hut in Vegas and go to Pizza Hut in California, it's all the same recipe because they're creating consistency because it's all about acquisition, customer service, and being able to acquire a customer. And then not only that, to be influencing someone else to be able to buy that product as well.
Okay. So if we go to let's stay on the on these big brands, it's McDonald's or the Apple. You know what I mean? These type of companies and brands that build customer loyalty. What is it that gives the customer loyalty? What is it that keeps bringing people back to the brand? Is it the consistency? Is it the utilization of it? Is it something more psychological?
It's what's in it for me. You know what I'm saying? So if you was to buy an Apple iPhone and they gave you a discount, it's something in it for you. And that's the whole other key to marketing is that you can't market something and it's no incentive for the end user. You know what I'm saying? I'm buying this, but did I get a discount? You know, I use another example. So you see a lot of, you know, African-American small businesses that have merch companies, right? Now, I'm a guy who wears a lot of Ralph Lauren, right? So when I go on Ralph Lauren or a Polo website, the first thing blinks at me is a 20% discount on either my purchase or a future purchase, right? You go to these newer brands where they want to offer you a hoodie at $300 and there's no incentive for me to actually come back. It's not sustainable. So they, as blacks, we find have a tendency to want to market ourselves different than traditional ways that we've already been marketed to. You know, it's no reason to reinvent the wheel, meaning that our monies is green. You know, we've been spending money in the Anglo-white sector for years and years and decades. When black companies come along and they want to do it different, and I think it kind of hinders the opportunity to have sustainable relationships.
Is that because our shopping habits or the branding habits of the products and services that are presented to us?
Well, a lot of times people buy black just because it's black. It has nothing to do with any aesthetics except for that. So a lot of black companies are out there are not knowledgeable to a true branding method.
Right.
You know, they're just kind of, you know, when you look at it, after when COVID hit, a lot of people opened up businesses that were basically just projects and hobbies. You know, candle companies and merch companies and, you know, and beads and, you know, whatever, it was hobbies. And they had a regular job, but this was a hobby. So no one really sat with them and taught them any kind of marketing antics. As you know, I work every day with big and small companies. And one first thing I ask them is, what is your marketing budget? They don't have one. You know, the first thing ask me is, well, just send me a package. So if I send you a package for $80,000, you're gonna say, well, I don't have $80,000. So I do what they call a need analysis based on your product, your acquisition costs, your capacity to grow, your unique selling proposition, and you know, and those are the methods to be able to kind of figure out how do we get to do business together.
So what are some things that people starting a brand or becoming a brand need to ask themselves, know about themselves and what they're trying to start before getting into it? Like I never thought, of course you think about people have to think about the budget side of it and what they're gonna spend to build this bad boy. But like you said, a lot of people are just coming with ideas. This is their first time stepping into something that's, you know, not normally pushed to them.
That's fair. And a lot of times you may not have a budget, but it's something called acquisition costs. And to give you an example of that is that if you went into a restaurant and a plate of food costs $10, right? And you're the owner of the restaurant, and a family of four comes in and they spend $40. Do you take $10 from one plate and then put it in a pot? And as you know, you have a whole week, a whole month, a whole 6 months of activity and people coming in, and you taking bits and pieces acquisition costs to be able to put that into a marketing budget so that you can market yourself on a bigger scale. So a lot of times you don't have to have a marketing budget, but you can use your acquisition costs to create a marketing budget so that you can now plan ahead. So even if you take 6 months and just take increments of dollars out of your everyday pricing, you know what I'm saying? Like I made the example of just one plate of food at $10. And if you got 50 people came in, that's $500 in one day. And then now in 6 months, that's $6,000. Now you have a marketing budget because you put into the cost of your business. You know, you have to get the word out to people. You know what I'm saying? I worked with Norms. And Norms was interesting. Norms is the breakfast spot, right? So they go out, they build a restaurant, and then they're trying to figure out how to put people in it. So it's kind of backwards, right? It seems like you would think when the restaurant is built, then now you have a customer base, right? So that's normally not how it works. You have to work with a lot of small restaurants, is they go out and they build a restaurant, and then they want to have a grand opening, and then they want to figure out how to get people in it. And food is interesting because it's a cycle. Like you might eat Chinese food today, and then of course it's Taco Tuesday, you eat Mexican food on Tuesday, and then Friday comes, you eat barbecue. So food is a cycle. So when no one's gonna eat the same food every day, then maybe one day you cook from home. You know what I'm saying? So when you understand the cycles of people in the artificial intelligence of how people are created, then you can create a marketing opportunity based on that, which Taco Tuesday is the best example.
Right.
Because every Tuesday, someone's going out eating tacos.
Right. It's a holiday now.
Yeah, even LeBron James is talking about eating tacos.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Okay. So step one is what? Formulate a budget that includes marketing into it and includes all this stuff into it first, or is the first step?
The first step is really just basically looking at the idea of what it is, right? And doing some homework, right? Like maybe getting keywords that's based on your product or service.
Okay.
Look up maybe 15 different keywords. That's called search engine optimization, right? Understanding your logo, slogan. You need a logo, and the logo should be colored a way that is familiar with most people, regardless if you're black or white or Asian or whatever. There's basic colors, white, green, yellow, red, that identifies. If you just think like McDonald's and you think of McDonald's, you think of pretty much all the bigger brands out there, those are the colors they use.
Right.
And they don't use them by accident. They use them because it formulates a consumer buy, right? So once you get the logo, then you need a slogan. You know what I'm saying? Because if you do a commercial, I hear the slogan, but I don't know the logo,
right.
There's two identifiers there, right? So then when you get to that point, then it's really trying to figure out who is your ideal customer.
Right.
You know, how old are they? Where do they live? Do they drink? Do they smoke? Whatever the scenario is, and then you got to create an artificial intelligence and duplicate those individuals.
You said find. I'm going to touch on what you said. Find the main consumers that are going to be taking your product in. Is it better to have a broad view of who you're trying to hit, or is it better to niche it down all the way to the specifics of what shoes this person wears, who they interact with, how it's going to affect the next generation of people that use them, have that type of brand loyalty to be specific to?
Well, I mean, the niche is always going to be, it's like if you're a barbershop, you're going to identify with, black men at a certain age.
Okay.
But then there's a broad perspective that means like you want everybody money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You want white folks money, you want black folks money, you want everybody. So there's a broad perspective and then there's a niche. You know what I'm saying? So your niche may be, it's vegan. That would be something of a niche. You know what I'm saying? It's not a broad perspective. But then you might have something that's relative to just car sales. So if it's a car sales situation, then that's a broader market. So any person can be in any vehicle at any time. So
right. Well, but then you say something like a vegan spot, for example. There's a lot of different ways to market that, a lot of different core audiences that'll tap into it. And I think that marketing to both, you may not get both of them. You know what I mean? For example, somebody may go to a vegan spot because, they're health enthusiasts and they want to eat healthier and cleaner, and they're into the carbs and meal prepping and working out and alkaline water and, cutting out hybrids and all that. And you have some people that are vegans because they care about the animals. We don't want to eat any cheese. We don't want to eat beef. And I think that is there a way to market to both, or is there one that is, is there certain things that people don't care about in a sense? Same also to market as a black company to black people. Are black people really supporting your business because it's a black business? Is that only appealing to the one small percentage of black people? Are you losing a percentage of your audience potentially because you're marketing as a black business? I don't know. I know I said a lot right there, but just...
I mean, it's a tier. So, you have the person that may be in there because it's a health situation. You might have a person that's going to be there because it's Black owned. You're going to get a mix. It's just never, you might be in there for the person that's not even a vegan. He's just basically trying the food for the very first time. And then they become a vegan because now they had a great experience. So it's a tier. It's no one of all type of scenario.
Okay, I accept that. That works. So you got your product brand, your service brand. You also have a personal brand. Do these coincide with one another? Are they interchangeable, or are they two completely separate things that got to be built side by side to each other?
When you say personal brand, isn't all of it kind of personal in a sense?
You the expert.
I'm just saying. You said personal brand. Well, like just when you say personal brand, I'm trying to understand the definition based on.
You're Illya Dailey.
Right.
There's a lot of different levels to Illya Dailey. There's Ask Illya.
Right.
As as a brand, also as a service, as a product. But if you were selling, seafood platters, the seafood plate would have its own brand. The building around it, the restaurant that comes with it, the food itself, I guess, will have its own portion of the brand.
I
so
think
I'm
if
curious.
you was looking at it as a personal brand, it would be more reflective of maybe an artist.
Okay, let's go that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So our artist.
Use me as an example. I'm trying to build my personal brand up as an artist.
That would be a personal brand because you're building a different level of acquisition.
Okay.
You're getting people to really enjoy your music and be influenced to be able to tell others about your music. That's kind of a personal brand. It's not a product or a service. It's basically something that's kind of endearing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like eating mama's food, right? You know what I'm saying? It ain't like going to the restaurant. You know what I'm saying? It's totally different. And mom's, she don't have a restaurant, but her food is real good. So you're gonna tell my friend, when you come to visit, my mom cooks this amazing Cornish hen. That'd be kind of a personal brand type of situation. But music is, since that's your gamut, that would be something personable, and that does have it's a different animal because music and food kind of go together, right? It's within the soul. People have to feel it. You have to build a culture around it.
Yeah.
So it has a whole different feel. So that'd be somewhat of a personal brand.
Okay.
But a product or a service is kind of pretty much the gamut of branding.
So if we asked you to define your personal brand, would you say that's Ask Illya is your personal brand? Like, are you?
Well, Ask Illya is a media agency offering services.
Okay.
So it's really not a personal brand. I utilize my name. Two things that I've let the world know how I did this is that I used to work for Google, and I always remembered the first 2 days I was there. It was, I don't know if you remember, like Ask Jeeves was around. We were creating keywords for businesses to be on the first page of the search engines, right? And the instructor said to us, he said, I want you to type in the word ask, A-S-K, right? And then look under, when you look at your Google results under, hit like 52 billion people ask something, right? So I put ask and I put Illya together to put myself on the first page of the search engines. Without having to pay for SEO, misspelled words, ad click, Google click campaigns, or any of that. So it was kind of something that I created based on knowledge I had. But it's a media agency to be able to offer, all the pieces to be able to help people get their business further along. If it's website, SEO, content creating, social media management, those are the back end tools to be able to kind of get your branding out.
Okay. How do we go about building and starting our brand on a low budget? Or no budget? Some people have no budget set aside for it. They've got the idea.
I mean, right now, it doesn't take very much for you to just go online and create a lot of this online. You got Canva to be able to do content. You got social media, handles where it doesn't really cost very much. Or really don't cost anything. It's really just planning and an idea, making sure that you're talking to the right people in regards to how you formulate it. You know what I'm saying? So, some of the bad examples is when people create their email address, it'd be a complete sentence, or when they're creating their name of their business. I use an example. Black Cultural Events was a company that I worked with, and I wanted to understand why do they wanted to call it Black Cultural Events, right? Because black has a negative stigma to it, you know what I'm saying? But she said to me, well, there's white people want to know about what black people do. So it kind of makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's like gathering the knowledge to figure out, what's a best practice. But it doesn't take a lot of budget to create the brand. It takes budget to maintain the brand. You know what I'm saying? Because as before I came to KBLA Radio, Don Amici had said to me, he said, man, I would see Ask Illya everywhere. So I knew that it was COVID, so I couldn't go to a lot of the events. So what I would do is I would pay to be on your Step and Repeat.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I would pay to be in your magazine. I would pay to, and I'm sitting at home, but when people go to these events, they see the Ask Illya brand. So, I put away a few marketing dollars to kind of get my brand out there until people kind of now just, Don Amici said it the best. He said, you look like you was like Domino's Pizza. Everywhere I looked, every event, your name was out there. And it built brand recognition.
Okay. What builds longevity in branding? Is that the goal, even longevity? Because we're at a point where you can always, pivot and rebrand, and it seems like you can start a new brand overnight.
You can, but it's the worst thing in the world to do.
Okay.
Because rebranding yourself is it's almost like people would have a business and then they been in business 15 years and then all of a sudden you drive by, it's a new name. It's the same business, it's a new name. People are not warm and friendly to that. So it doesn't really, it's not a positive thing to do. The best thing to do is once you're branded, and that's why you got to do the homework prior to, because once you come out with Miles Lowe, you can't come out with Miles Lowe the third, because now they like, well, who is that? And it becomes a question, and then now it becomes a question of integrity. Like, that ain't the same. If Domino's came out with Domino's something else, you're gonna question, is the quality of the pizza gonna be the same? Is it, so you don't want that. That's what you don't want. So it's very important and imperative that when you build the brand, you do the homework prior so that you can have the longevity of that brand.
Okay. So how does a brand grow and evolve?
It's activity. It's activity. You have to, you have to have the social media skills to be able to brand. So if you're an event, if your business is event planning, then Wednesday through Sunday is the days you want to be able to kind of put yourself out there. Yeah. If you're a finance and banking and business services, then Monday and Tuesdays is days you want to brand yourself. So a lot of people don't even know those little antics, you know what I'm saying? Because really what happens is if it's something business related, we start our business day Monday, Tuesday. But then by one time Wednesday hit, we looking at where the party at, where I'm going to eat, what I'm doing for the weekend. So the whole mindset changes. So, that activity has to be on point with the way people live and the way people adjust themselves throughout the week, you know what I'm saying? And then you got to look at the time of the day, you know what I'm saying? 3 o'clock on a Wednesday and you having a party on Saturday, that's going to be ideal for somebody who's like about to get off work at 5 o'clock and be like, I don't know what's going on. And like, oh, Miles Lowe's having a party, a rooftop party, champagne popping, Saturday. It's going to be more entertaining to that person than if they see that same ad on a Monday. Because they just came from the weekend. They don't like, I just had a ball. I just went to Knott's Berry Farm. I'm not interested, right? So you really got to create the animal that we live by. It's nothing There's nothing is strange about it. It's just you got to recognize how people interact.
As far as we're setting up our brand, we're getting there, we got our idea of what our brand is, we got our idea of what our product is, what our personal brand is, right? It's two different things. So let's say that's what I'm trying to build right now. I want to have a personal brand and a product to sell it, or a service to sell with it. How do we get into the marketing and promotion side of it? Where does that come in at?
That's when budget comes to play.
Okay.
Because now you really need dollars to kind of formulate how you really want to move the brand. Who you want to be in front of. Who's going to make that brand move. So if it's aligning yourself with events, if it's aligning yourself with concerts, things like that, as you know, you need staff. It's always says three things that most people need. It's team, time, and money. If you're missing any of those three, it's a great idea.
That's it.
It's a great idea. If you don't have a team, that means you can need someone from an admin perspective, someone from a marketing sales perspective, and then you need what we call doers, people that's gonna be compassionate about your brand and help you do the things you need to do. And then you need time, just like you go to work every day from 8 to 5 or whatever that time frame is, you gotta allocate time to do that. And then you gotta have a few dollars to be able to move the needle.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So if you wanted to go be on, any digital ads, or you want to promote yourself on any radio station or something like that, you need to have some sort of dollars to formulate those opportunities.
Okay. What about like cross-promoting and cross-branding and collaborating and partnering across different brands? How do we go about doing that?
That's probably one of the best things people can actually offer, because I may go into, I'm gonna get a good example. I may walk into a bookstore,
Okay.
right? And next door to the bookstore is a nail shop, right? So every time the person goes into the bookstore and get a book, they get a percentage off getting their nails done.
Right.
So that bookstore and that nail shop is collaborating together and building acquisition,
Right.
and building collaboration.
Okay. Is there ever a time where, I guess, we always have to be cautious of who we collab with, as well as cross-promoting our brands, because our brand is our brand. It may not be 100% aligned with other brands. Is there ever a time where promotion isn't the way to go, you would say?
Well, you always, the word promotion is promote.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to find effective ways to promote in a positive way. You know what I'm saying? You have to, sometimes every situation is not always, I would ask Illya, every situation is not always a good situation. I had one scenario where I basically promoted, a beer, and I didn't get a return on my money. I have another one where I promoted was he vegan? The vegan chef, and they had the whole vegan festival, and I'm out here promoting and thinking that he's gonna make XYZ dollars,
Right.
and he failed, and I lost money. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times you gotta test the waters, but at the same token, you gotta find out what's gonna be potentious for you. So it's not always a good look. I could just say that from taking monies out of my own pockets, promoting my own brand, thinking that I'm gonna build acquisition, or I'm gonna build, a little equity with a situation,
Now, are these startup new brands? I'm not to cut your wisdom. Are these startup new brands that you working with, or these are already established brands?
Established brands.
Okay.
I had it, like I said, the one guy was a vegan chef that was at a vegan festival who projected that he was gonna sell so much product, and he failed. And the monies that I put in to be able to cross promote with him, I didn't get in return. You know what I'm saying?
Got it.
It's like it was a beer. I don't want to put the name out there, but it was a beer that I helped promote at the Taste of Soul.
Okay.
And they didn't. It rained that year at the Taste of Soul, so they didn't get as many people out early, so they didn't make enough money, and it didn't work out.
Right.
So.
Okay. Well, I mean, it seems to me also that because of the time we're in, that it seems to be getting easier to build your brand. Maybe not easier in, from an idea perspective or a strategy standpoint, but it seems like the tools are getting there, the people are coming in. Does that oversaturate the market and stuff like that?
You never really oversaturate the market. You oversaturate the market when there's one particular product or service. That's considered oversaturation. But
Well, maybe not oversaturate. Maybe it's just it's overly competitive markets.
no, I don't. I wouldn't even say that because people are building their own identities and they're building their own products and services based on their entrepreneurial skill set. And it's something you just have to admire. There was a time where we just knew to go to work, go to school, graduate out of high school, go to college, have a job, and work forever, and then retire. And then now we in the era, I call it the microwave era, where basically everybody want it now. So the entrepreneurial skill set is developed to the point where people are into stocks, they're into so many different types of ways to be able to kind of create revenue for themselves. So it's something you just got to admire.
Right. Do you think people are creative enough? Do people have genuinely good ideas in your opinion?
I mean, looking from a social media standpoint, it's an influx of just so many people with so many different ideas and things that you just constantly see more and more. It used to be kind of, I'd say 3, 4, 5 years ago, things were kind of stagnant in regards to you've seen the same things over and over. You got, for black folks, you got the hair salons and the braids and the food places,
right.
The nails, the candles, the hoodies and the merch and the music. Now we're expanding ourselves to different opportunities that's far beyond just kind of the basic stuff. So it's something that you can really admire, because I think we're in an era now where you're going to see a lot more smarter people doing different things, especially now with, AI, that's kind of changing the whole game in regards to how people can market themselves without having any extensive knowledge. You just type in a sentence and then here you go. I think it does take away the original creativity that you would come. It's almost like you write music, right? So if you wrote a song, it's different than if you typed in, I want to write this song, and then they gave you the words. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
And the reason why I asked that is because I think that, as you know, I use AI, and I think that what I'm noticing is that people that do use AI for a lot of their work come up with similar ideas and thought patterns, and the same AIs are giving multiple millions of people these same type of ideas to build off of. And then you end up just having people make the same thing over and over again. Keep using Canva, you end up seeing somebody that's used that same font or design or logo as you before. And then, and that's why I'm asking, is there any way that oversaturates the market because of the ease and ability to create these ideas and get there?
It does. It takes away, if you could go to the store and buy a pie and put it in the oven. It's a difference if you make the pie yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a lot of the originality and creative and thought out of it when you use a lot of these formulas like AI and Canva. I was an engineering major in college, so I knew about a T-square, and I was a civil engineer. My fascination was architecture. So, I could sit and I can draw a building just like it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? But then if you use any kind of other AutoCADing to draw the building for you. So it takes away your level of creativity. You know what I'm saying? So I think that could be a problem down the road, because you are going to see duplicates of the same, formulas when you use these type of tools.
Right. Talk about the importance of originality, the importance of being different, the importance of having something that stands out in a way that people connect to it, as opposed to looking at it as if it's just one of the many that are out there, one of the options.
Well, let's put it in reference to music, you know what I'm saying? There's artists that create their own music,
Yeah.
and they write their own stuff, and then there's ghostwriters,
Right.
that they perform from, right? So a lot of times we don't know the difference because we don't know the back end story. We just hear it when it's been developed. But when it's projected, in music, that that person wrote that music because it comes from the soul, it comes from the gut. Whereas if it was ghostwritten, it might have a different empathy to it. And as you know, we formulate radio commercials. And I always tell people, we could create a commercial and produce it for you, but what if you actually produce the commercial yourself? It's gonna have a certain empathy, it's gonna have a certain compassion to it. And this is your business, you love it, you put it together, you know what I'm saying? But if you gave me 10 bullet points and I said, okay, well, I'm gonna write out something that's formulated to a 60-second commercial, it's gonna weigh different. It's just gonna weigh different. So originality is always the best way to go.
Okay. What's the in your position, as somebody who masters and experts in marketing, promotion, brand building, big and small, what's the future of the industry look like for you?
The future is always bright, just because we're dealing with people that are a lot smarter nowadays, more innovative, looking for opportunities to kind of grow themselves. It's not so much always about money. Sometimes it's really people just have an idea and they want to grow themselves. So I think the future will always be bright. I'm in a situation where it doesn't go nowhere. You're still gonna buy Nike, you're still gonna wear Philadelphia, marketing, I think that the saying is that in one day people see over 33,000 pieces of marketing just driving down the street. You know what I'm saying? So you think about the clothes you had on, the coffee you drank, the cars you seen, the billboard, the other people clothes, so we're constantly seeing marketing all the time. So the secret, what saddens me is that people don't really plan, they think it's some sort of magical, trick or something for people to buy from you.
Right.
And it really isn't. It's AI. It's artificial intelligence. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's an old saying when I first got into marketing, I started off in retail, grocery stores with Pepsi Cola, and it's a way of life. People walk into a grocery store, they're gonna walk to the right side. When they buy something, they use their right hand. It's at eye level. All that's AI. We call it AI now, but we've been using AI for a long, long, long time. I've been in this business over 27 years, and it's the same thing. It's just almost like when we put together media kits for clients, we tell them with the person's age, their income, they're educated, if they got discretionary income, where they live at, how many times they open a book. Whatever it may be, we create that artificial intelligence. Now it's a matter of just kind of duplicating that.
Okay. 20 plus years, what's changed, what's stayed the same, and what is a next level of innovation that you see coming soon?
That's a good question because, that's where I've been having my pulse on is, because my last level of innovation was audio visual content on social media. That was not unheard of before because people were stuck on Facebook, and then when they start switching over to Instagram, when you go to audio visual content, the first 7 seconds turns into an impression, right? So we were before that, it was all about just likes, like. So now we got to the point where CPMs and impressions make a difference. So I'm trying to figure that out.
CPM.
Cost per thousands.
Okay.
So that means the cost per thousands, meaning how many thousands of people have actually impressed that view. So that's where I'm at, to kind of, you see, I kind of chuckle a little bit about that because that's something I've been beating myself up for probably the last 2 years trying to figure out what's next. And then AI came. So that's happening now. But what's after AI? And I'm trying to put my pulse on that so that I can be the most grand marketing person on the planet.
Okay.
But I don't know what that is yet. So, hopefully God send me something or somebody or something, because that's pretty much how my life has been working in regards to being in front of, marketing opportunities.
Okay. What stayed the same and consistent, and what has, changed and phased out that people are still caught up in trying to duplicate? It doesn't work no more.
Yeah, I think what stays the same is that people don't plan accordingly. There's no knowledge. People go out and they learn financial literacy. People go out and they learn how to do fitness. People go out, I always say, do you change your own oil? Right? No. You go to an oil change place to change your oil. Well, when it comes to marketing, you need to go find someone that understands marketing to kind of teach you, all the antics and things that you need to do so that your business can be successful. So that's always the challenge, because people don't want to spend money or they feel that they know it all. So I think that's what's staying the same, that needs to have a change, where you go to a dentist, right? When your teeth hurt. So when you open up a business, why not go reach out to somebody who's a professional marketer that can give you the information, because I get a lot of kudos, and sometimes I just give out jewels. I don't even really, I do have what they call a 120-day plan, where I sit with folks and I talk about what your marketing project should look like for the next 120 days. And they like, I ain't never even thought about the next 120 days.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it'd be good to just see people, spend money in the market with their money is to be able to have a professional marketer.
Do you see it getting easier for people to find these sources of information from? Like, can you trust it? Because there's also been a time, not to cut your wisdom again, I keep cutting you, my bad.
It's all right.
But, we've seen the social media wave of fake influencers and fake bots and fake promotions and, buying the likes and buying the attention, as opposed to actually generating it and knowing how to keep it and retain that.
Yeah, but also I think that there's a fake world and there's a real world.
Okay.
So everybody know if you got 20,000 folks, they know if it's organic or not. You know what I'm saying? You could just look at the activity and know that, like a lot of my social media, I don't have 10,000 or 15,000, but I have a loyal audience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have people that I know. I have people I've worked with. You know what I'm saying? And that builds genuineness. And that's what people really want to see. You know what I'm saying? I think, in the beginning, a couple of years back, the whole fakeness was all good, and to get the blue check, it was all good. Right. But I think we beyond that.
You think so? You think we passed that already?
I think we beyond that.
Okay. Joel agrees. Okay. When you say we're beyond it, what makes you say we're beyond that? Because I still see it being a very vain, vanity-driven market as well. It may not bring you the results that you were thinking that you would get from buying these little things, but it's still very much for sale, and even that's marketing and branding, right? To get people to subscribe to those type of things.
I mean, you can pump fake people all day long, but at the end of the day, like I said, you could go buy a pie in the store and you can put it in the oven, or you can have someone make you a genuine pie. And I think people want to see genuineness. I think we were at a point that with the blue check meant a lot, to now it's just really people are more like they know that that's not genuine. You know what I'm saying? It's fake. It's like you don't want to wear no fake Gucci. You don't want to wear no fake Louis Vuitton. You know what I'm saying? So might as well either pay for the real or don't wear it at all.
But that doesn't stop people from selling fake Louis Vuitton and fake, because there's still a market for it. And I mean, if the point of your brand and your, what's the word? If your goal is money, you know what I mean? If that's the ultimate goal, is the conversions per se, then if there's a market for it, there's still room to get them off, I'm assuming.
I mean, it's going to always be a market for anything that's fake, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I think the masses are intelligent enough to know I'd rather have something genuine, you know what I'm saying? Even if it's a relationship, people want a genuine relationship with people.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I pride myself on as being a great marketer, is that I tell people all the time, I don't really care about your money. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure we have a relationship that I can move the needle. I had a customer today, like, I'm all about moving the needle. Like, I want to be able to help your business grow. So if I got to give you a few nuggets and I'm going to lose a few dollars, but I gain a friend, you know, and then down the road, you're going to refer me to someone else, and then they're going to refer me to someone else. I probably got 3 referrals in business this week based on just building a relationship, not trying to just sell you something to be able to put a check of the box. You know what I'm saying? Because I know the longevity of people is the most important thing.
How do people build relationships these days?
It's probing and aligning, right?
Probe what?
Probing
Probing and aligning.
and aligning,
Okay.
right? So everybody has something that's in common. Just say, for instance, today as an example, I always try to use examples so I don't sound like, you know, I got it all figured out.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking to someone today and they said, oh, my family's from Louisiana. Well, my family's from Louisiana, right? My daughter is going to college. Well, my son just graduated from college. So you asking questions and you're having a conversation, and then you start create these alignments that creates the relationship. So now people take the Aikido away. You know what that is?
I don't know what that is.
So Aikido is when you walk into Nordstrom's or you walked into an auto dealership and the guy asks you, can I help you? And the first thing you say is no, because you don't want to be sold.
Yeah.
So the thing is, in my business in sales and marketing, is you want to take the Aikido away. So you probe and find alignments. I'm black, you black. I'm a man, you a man. I wear glasses, you wear glasses. You got kids, I got kids. You like soul food, I like soul food. You know, so it used to be back in the day where people used to lie to kick it. You know what I'm saying? They probe and align and make themselves adequated to the other individual, but they really not really adequated. So I've learned to be able to be more genuine, you know, even if I'm opposing, like, oh, well, my son didn't go to college. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then the relationship is, well, how did your daughter do in college and what college did they go to? And you still continue to probe and align and kind of build that relationship.
Right.
But relationships is all shaking the hands and being friends.
Well, you're a personable person. You come from a different era than right now. You come from actually meeting people, shaking hands, speaking, communicating. A lot of people now, a lot of times that we're now are solely through this. You know what I mean? Solely, your first interaction is through DMs and through comments and trying to reach and probe through the internet. How do you build that genuine connection and probe people authentically, genuinely, without selling to them? Because people do hate being sold to, I'm learning. How do you reach those people through social media, through online, through email, through a cold email, through, you know, any means besides just having to walk up and introduce yourself and say, hey, yeah, my son's in college as well?
It's a value proposition. So if I have something of value to you, so let's say, for instance, you know, we work at KBLA radio, and I tell you that, you know, you're a car dealer, and I tell you that I have my audience has the spending power to be able to buy Mercedes-Benz. That's value to you, right? So now it's a value proposition now that's created a relationship without me even knowing who you are, because you're like, oh, well, because he's selling cars. I have an audience that can actually purchase these vehicles. So now I give you this value proposition to be able in an email, and then I'm saying things like, could we meet or could we speak at 11 o'clock next Tuesday? You have to answer that question. But if I just say, well, yeah, I got these cars, and I never try to figure out how I can meet or speak with you, you know, and put it in a time slot.
Yeah.
Because you could say, and then I say, well, let me know what your schedule permits. Like, well, next Tuesday doesn't work for me. Okay, well, what about next Wednesday? So they gotta answer the question. So that's the unique way of doing things we call them seed letters. You know, planting the seed and building a seed letter with a value proposition so that the person actually wants to do business with you. And then what you do is you lock them into a day and a time where they basically have to speak with you. Or at least they got to tell you that they're unavailable or available, or I'm not the person to talk to. You could talk to John and he'll be available on Tuesday.
Okay. This is what you always wanted to do, was kick game through marketing and
I wore
and branding?
I wore many hats throughout
Okay.
my going into my senior years, but I started off, with the love of engineering and architecture, and then I got caught into marketing. By my first job was with Pepsi Cola,
Okay.
and that's kind of where I was in the building. I was a formula specialist with Pepsi, and I ended up walking down this hallway, and this guy was like, "I like your personality. I think you'd be good in sales." I knew nothing about sales. And I got into the marketplace, and that spearheaded a lot of opportunities. So I've worked in wireless from T-Mobile, AT&T, Nextel, Southern Wine and Spirits, Pepsi Cola, Google, and then of course a lot of different radio stations, KBLA, KJLH. So I've wore a lot of different hats in a lot of different places. And I think what it is, I genuinely like just building relationships, and I love business. I remember when I was young,
Yeah.
I was at middle school, we was in wood workshop.
Okay.
I built a desk.
Okay.
And
What's
I
that?
put it in my room, and I told my mother one day I'm gonna be a businessman. So that was like 7th, 8th grade. So I've lived that life over and over and over and over, and I have many desks now. So
Right. Right. Okay. My own desk. Had my own desk. God damn it.
yeah, and I had
Built my
ID.
own.
You had to engrave it. I
Yeah.
had the ID, which is my initials, at the top of it. My little slide it under. I had the whole.
Get the little planer and you put it on the CAD. You feel me? You got to polish it, sand it off a little bit. Yeah.
Put the varnish on it. Yeah. So no, it's not something it chose me. If I had to do it all over again, I would rather been a defense attorney.
Why? You don't mind me asking.
I mean, it's criminals. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of like that aspect. It kind of has that edgy part, and it's when you've been through I used to do mock trial in high school, so learning cases and studying, how to get somebody off, or prove that they did or didn't do something was always fascinating to me. You know what I'm saying? And then of course they make a ton of bread. Defense attorneys is normally, they're not like prosecution.
Right.
So they make a ton of bread. So
Okay.
that would have been my first. If I had to do it over, I would definitely been an attorney.
Okay. Would you say that Lil Illya back then is proud of OG Illya now?
Oh yeah, one thing I could say I pride myself is that I come from a place of, believing in God and Pentecostal, reading the Bible, trusting in the word of the Lord to be able to kind of, give me a future. And I've had a lot of levels of keeping my integrity, you know what I'm saying, regardless. Sometimes that's all you really have at the end of the day is your honesty. Bad or good, I did it, I messed up, I screwed up, and just be honest about it. So.
Okay. So let's say somebody's about to wrap up soon. Somebody wants to work with Ask Illya. How do they do that? What do they need to bring to the table? What are some thoughts they need to have and ideas they need to get together so that way their brand is ready to take the step where they need help? Because you said everybody needs a team. A lot of people aren't even there. A lot of people, like you said already, just have just a good idea. Haven't took any steps forward in bringing it into fruition, haven't put any money behind it, haven't started looking into what kind of team they would need for it. Just a good idea at this point. But I want to ask Illya on my team. I'm watching the Do Better show, the New Better Do Better show. If you knew better, you do better. So, we making it better right now.
Ask Illya, Illya at askillya.com is the way to contact me. I'm redeveloping my website right now, so so that's not a great way. But
The brand.
the brand,
The rebrand.
or call me 424-789-0579. That's my direct cell phone number.
Give one more time for me.
424-789-0579. 0579 or ask Illya, ILLYA at ask Illya, ILLYA.com. It's my email address. But no, I mean, I'm a grassroots kind of individual, so you can come with the idea, but I do like if you have a team, and I do like if you have time, and I do like if you have a few little chips in your pocket. It makes it easier to kind of push the idea further and put it into fruition. You know what I'm saying? But, let's start off with the idea, you know what I'm saying? And then, I'm always trying to build a millionaire. So, that's what I do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Any last thing you want to get out that you haven't said that we need to talk about that the people need to know? Any jewels, any nuggets, any thoughts they need to keep in the front of their mind in building their business, their product, their service, their personal brand, marketing, promoting?
It's really just one word. Like I said, mention the time, the money, and the team. It's consistency. You know what I'm saying? I always said, marketing is like a workout schedule. You go out, you work out, you get yourself all buff and built, and then you stop, and then you go eat potato chips and drink a soda, and you get all fat, and then you start all over. It's just to be consistent. Once you have the time, the team, and the money, the biggest thing is just being consistent. And we all fall short, but there's one tool that we can always utilize to keep us accountable, and that's called Outlook. So go to your Outlook and then put information in your Outlook to do things. And then what happens is when you don't do it, Outlook tells you or reminds you that you didn't do it, and it builds accountability. So that's pretty much the nugget. If you want to manage yourself, just go get you some Outlook, start plugging away things in your calendar. I give you another example. My son wanted to play Division I basketball when he was in high school, but he watched ESPN all day and all night. He was a 4.6 GPA. And I told him, I said, so how long is a commercial on ESPN? In between commercials, he's like 2-3 minutes, right? I said, how many push-ups and sit-ups can you do in between those 2 and 3 minutes as you watching ESPN? So it's the same thing. It's like keep a regiment, stay consistent, and use the clock. I mean, we only have one item that doesn't change. It's the clock. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week. And if you put Outlook in perspective, it'll keep you accountable, to keep you consistent.
Okay. Are we also, last question, do you think we have too short of I know we have a short attention span, but do we look at things in too short of increments of time?
Yeah, and I mean, you got to give yourself, we have life, you got kids, you have things you want to do and things like that. So the consistency is that when you don't have that consistency, we want it fast. We want it now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And give yourself enough time to plan to be successful. You know what I'm saying? Because success sometimes is not an overnight. It's not as you know, you've been in music quite some time, and it takes a while, but you have to have a consistency.
Right.
So it's not going to happen fast.
But you're talking about people can't even fathom a 120-day plan. As you know what I mean? And you're talking about, your son putting himself into a 2-3 minute time frame of, some simple of stuff he can do, like push-ups in that time frame. So just,
Yeah, but you look at the 120-day plan, and this is another nugget. So what's happening in the next 120 days? You got Easter, you got Mother's Day, you got Father's Day.
Yeah.
Those are consumer marketing opportunities for people that's going to spend money.
Yeah. You'll be in two different seasons in time by that time.
Right, but you align yourself, your business, with that energy in that next 120 days. You know what I'm saying? Or we could go backwards. You can say you had November was Thanksgiving, and you had Christmas, New Year's, and Valentine's. So those are days where people are already aligned with some form of selling you something.
Yeah.
And you align yourself the same way you do with a Taco Tuesday.
Black Friday was right then. I think we miss Black Friday a lot as, people who are selling, entrepreneurs and artists. I think we don't utilize them type of days enough. So
we can use the natural calendar as a way to be able to kind of formulate a 120-day plan, because it's a cycle. You know, it's going to come back around. Christmas is going to come every year. Thanksgiving is going to come every year. And you have a 90-day window to kind of plan ahead of it so that you can market yourself around people that's going to be spending money regardless.
Okay. I accept that, man. Hey, I think that's enough game for y'all, man. I think there's enough in there to where you can pick and choose, some info and some gems from wherever you are in your process of being an entrepreneur, learning how to build your product, to the design of your product, to the logo, to marketing, to the building a team, to we got a lot out there, man. So I appreciate you joining us on the Do Better
Thanks
show,
for having
brother,
me,
man.
man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Give me your contact info one more time. How they stay in touch with you?
Illya, Illya, at ask, ASK, Illya, ILLYA.com. That's my email.
Are you still having fun doing this? Do you have fun doing your job? Doing what you do?
There's stressful moments because you do really become passionate about other people's businesses, and you want to see it to be successful. So I would say there is some fun when you see the needle move and you get the call back and they like, thank you for helping me. That's the fun part.
Okay. Love, man. Love what you do. That's the message. That's the moral of the story. Whatever you do, do it well. Do it excellent. And love it, man. You'll never work a day in your life. You'll be like Ask Illya, and you'll be changing lives for a living. And that's where the real money comes in. You feel me? It fills your soul, it fills your pockets, and and you're building one person at a time. Look, it's the New Better, Do Better show. Our only goal is to make you better. So appreciate you tapping in. Episode 5, you dig? Hey, at the Do Better Network on Instagram, on YouTube, at Miles Low Music on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, X, Snapchat. Tap in with the movement, and we'll be back soon. Another one. Salute. Oh, 3 words, okay? If you made it this far, 3 words I need you to never forget, as long as you here, all right? Fly, Eagles, fly. Make some noise, Bird Gang. Champions, baby. I ain't get to rock it yet, but yeah. Shout out to Bird Gang. We're going to talk about that in the next one. Appreciate you, man. It's the Do Better show. We out. Bam. Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Appreciate you.